The date is Thursday, October 28. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson. Cabinet has approved the procurement of a digital vaccination verification system. National COVID Vaccination Operationalization Task Force Chairman Professor Gordon Shirley made the announcement at a virtual media brief on Wednesday. The DIVOC software is being acquired from India.
Any large-scale vaccination process needs a number of systems working seamlessly with each other, from appointment systems to the systems which manage the data that is inputted, as well as at the back end, the authentication to ensure that people who want to know whether or not you have been vaccinated can get a trusted mechanism to do that.
DIVOC is an open source system that will help with vaccination verification when Jamaicans travel. Professor Shirley says it is scalable, highly secure, and it can be integrated within existing systems.
It's deployable on any cloud platform. It has the capability to expand to other immunization programs. So any of our child care or any other immunization program that we are doing in the country can be dealt with on this platform. It allows secure access by third-party apps. And we think that Jamaica will want to develop a government app, as India did, that allows cryptographic verification via a QR code for a wide variety of verifiers, including restaurants and offices and public facilities and so on.
He confirmed that the system typically takes 6 weeks to be implemented. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says COVID-19 hospitalization has declined since September, but the nation's health system is still under pressure from the pandemic. He gave an update in Parliament this week.
At this level of hospitalization, there continues to be an inordinate amount of resources consumed with dealing with COVID cases, and there is an adverse impact on other persons seeking to access the healthcare system for non-communicable diseases such as heart diseases, cancers, etc. Madam Speaker, this is grossly unfair and cannot be allowed to continue much longer.
He says the daily positivity rate has declined as well.
The average number of additional persons that are infected by a single infected person, that is the definition or the understanding of the R0. The R0 has been falling and is now at approximately 0.8. Madam Speaker, you will recall that in order for our cases to decrease, we need to maintain the R0 at below 1. Just very quickly, Madam Speaker, maintaining the R0 below 1 is a function of personal behavior. In particular, it is a function of the behavior of the infected. And the infected, that includes people who are ill and people who may be infected but asymptomatic. So the wearing of the mask, the hand sanitizing, the social distancing, if you are ill, separating yourself from the population, observing the curfews that are in place, these measures help to keep the R0 down. Once the R0 is below 1, we know that the reproduction of the virus will fall, and therefore the infections will also fall.
The Prime Minister urged against complacency, even with the reduction in the island's positivity rate.
And we will have to treat it like we treat any other contagious disease. The mindset has to shift, Madam Speaker, from treating with COVID as a project where it is dealt with almost separately to just treating with it in our public health system generally. The country cannot continue in this mode. We have been at it for more than a year and a half. So, Madam Speaker, we're moving into the endemic phase of the pandemic. And what that means is that we have to change the way in which we, as the leadership and government of the country, how we have managed the pandemic, And by this presentation, I am signaling that we are in that process of shifting how we manage the pandemic. And that shift, Madam Speaker, will mean that the citizens will have to bear greater personal responsibility.
Mr. Holness reiterated that vaccination is key to the country returning to full productivity. The Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ will today continue its national vaccination drive at the Spanish Town and Portmore tax offices. The tax authority is hosting a 3-day vaccination drive from October 28 to 30. The Blitz activity is scheduled to take place at the Spanish Town tax office on Thursday, October 28 and Friday, October 29, starting at 8:30 a.m. The Blitz at the Portmore tax office on Saturday, October 30 begins at 9 a.m. The vaccination drive is a collaboration between the Health and Wellness Ministry through the St. Catherine Health Department and the TAJ, and is geared towards staff and their family members as well as the general public getting their first and second doses of the AstraZeneca or the single-dose Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines. Backyard poultry farmers are being urged to obtain a butcher's license. President of the Jamaica Association of Public Health Inspectors, Karen Brown, says while licensing is not yet mandatory for this group, it is important in order to maintain public health and safety standards. Speaking at a recent JIS think tank, she says the government is moving to strengthen the legislative framework that covers poultry farming. This will be done through the promulgation of poultry hygiene regulations, which is now in the draft stage. Persons can apply for a butcher's license at their local municipal corporation. Select tax offices will be open this Saturday, and business operators are reminded that consumption taxes for September are due tomorrow. Also in this extended business report, motorists are slapped with another increase in gas and diesel. Plus we get our regular market updates. The Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ is reminding business persons that consumption taxes for the month of September are due on Friday, October 29. These include GCT, SCT, TCT, and GART. It is a requirement for taxpayers to make their monthly consumption tax returns and payments on the last working day of the month after the end of the taxable period. Consumption taxes filed and paid after the last working day of the month will be considered late, and the necessary penalties and interest charges applied. Additionally, all business persons registered to collect GCT are reminded that they must file their GCT returns online via TAJ's online portal at www.jamaicatax.gov.jm. This means that GCT returns for all categories of business persons must be filed using TAJ's online facility, as these returns will not be accepted at tax offices. The tax authority says business persons can get support to file GCT returns online, as well as guidance to use any of the alternate payment channels through its customer care center at 888-TAX-HELP. That's 888-829-4357, or by visiting the How to tab on the TAJ website. Select tax offices will be open this Saturday, October 30, and every last Saturday for the month for the remainder of the 2021-2022 financial year. The Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ says this is subject to any announcements by the government on COVID containment measures. The following tax offices will operate this Saturday between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. St. Andrew, Montego Bay, Mandeville, Savannah Lamar, St. Anne's Bay, and Old Harbour. The Portmore tax office will continue its usual weekly Saturday operations with adjusted business hours of 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. According to the latest ex-refinery costs from Petrojam, motorists will pay more at the pumps for gasoline and diesel. 87 and 90 octane gasoline will be sold for $160.68 and $166.11 per liter, respectively, following an increase of $3.06. Automotive diesel fuel saw a price hike of $2.94 and will be sold for $161.05 per liter. Ultra-low sulfur diesel is up by $3.06 and will be sold for $165.63 per liter. Kerosene increased in price by $2.94 and will be sold for $138.80 per liter. Propane liquid petroleum saw a price drop of $1.21 and will be sold for $79.28 per liter. Butane liquid petroleum will be sold for $88.11 per liter after an increase of 15 cents. Be on the lookout for price changes as marketing companies and retailers add their markup to these prices. In foreign exchange trading for Wednesday, October 27, the US dollar sold for an average $155.28. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $129.81. The pound sterling traded for $213.04, and the euro sold for an average $183.55. In Wednesday's trading session, the JSE Combined Index advanced by 2,961 points to close at over 410,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 93 stocks, of which 48 advanced, 27 declined, and 18 traded firm. The Junior Market Index declined by 37 points to close at over 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, Blue Power Group Limited, and Cargo Handlers Limited. Stocks declined for Access Financial Services Limited, Caribbean Cement Company Limited, and Caribbean Cream Limited. Trading firm were 1834 Investments Limited, Barita Investments Limited, and Berger Paints Jamaica Limited. Siboney Group Limited was the volume leader with over 2.8 million units, followed by Jamaican Teas Limited with over 1.7 million units, and Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with over 1.2 million units. Oil prices slumped to their lowest in 2 weeks after official figures showed a surprise jump in U.S. inventories of crude and rising cases of COVID-19 in Europe, Russia, and some outbreaks of infections in China dented hopes for an economic recovery. Brent crude futures dropped $1.58 to $83 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures fell $1.39 to $81.27 a barrel. Where can you get customized meals prepared with only fresh natural spices and seasoning, curbside pickup and delivery? How about a crash course in wine tasting? This week, our culinary trail leads us to the wine shop in Kingston.
The wine shop was really about wines. So that's how we started. We started at Lady Musgrave, where we were importing wines solely for retail purposes. We were importing wines solely for individuals. It reached to a point where persons say, well, you need a location. And then we found a location on South Avenue, which that's where we were, on South Avenue. We were there for 5 years, 5 going 6. We were just distributing wines. We used to give samples until persons will stop by the shop and, can you just pour 2 samples in a glass? Can I just have a glass of wine? And then they will sit there trying to wait on the traffic to die down, and they're like, okay, can I just have a bottle? And then the bottle leads to, do you have any food? Do you have any food around the back? It reached to a point where persons were ordering food in. One of my customers suggested that we converted our office into a kitchen. So we converted the office into a kitchen. We were just using a little tabletop stove where we're just doing little knickknacks, like a finger foods, something quick and easy. And then eventually our menu grew, and then persons became aware of us doing food. We geared everything around my boss, who is Turkish. So we geared all the menu items around tapas or meze, which they're known for. And then eventually the menu grew just by, giving persons what they request. So if somebody come and say, can I have this? We say, all right, next time you'll get it. And that's how our menu expanded. And our friendship with our customers developed into more family. So we're now family orientated. So anybody who comes to the wine shop is no longer a customer, is now family. So we offer personalized services to them. We use only fresh ingredients, we don't use the powder seasoning, so everything is all natural. My boss, who is Turkish, European, they are known for their freshness. So we started by just doing everything from scratch. Everything is fresh, we don't use powder, nothing. We don't use any bottled preservatives, anything. So we maintain the freshness by doing it to order, and in that way we can customize each dish. So you have a customer who can't take salt, no problem. You have a customer who can't take butter, no problem, and so on and so forth. You have customers who want their chicken or their lamb to be well done, no problem. It is customizable for each person, and we maintain that as much as possible. That is one of our strong suits. We don't cut any corners. We normally tell persons that just give us 10 to 15 minutes at most, and your meal will be ready. Our specialty on the menu, our most ordered item on the menu, is our lamb chops. We use fresh garlic, fresh thyme, fresh rosemary, salt and pepper, and you'll be surprised the simplest of ingredients make the tastiest dish. So our extra addition is love. We have a daily lunch menu that changes every day. We try to keep the items every 2 days to give persons enough time to, order it. But if it's not on the menu, they are always welcome to call us and request it. I always tell them, once I have it, you shall have it. Once we have the ingredients, it is easy. Because it's a done-to-order menu or done-to-order item, we always try to aim to give you what you want. Because we started as a wine shop, we're always about wine. We teach people how to hold a wine glass, how to swirl a wine, how to taste a wine, the difference in terms of grapes. Because some persons don't understand that grapes or wines differs by the grapes. So a Merlot is the grape, a Chardonnay is the grape. So we teach persons the basics. We teach persons in terms of the medium dry, to the sweet, to the dry. Because there are persons who have never tried wine. So if they try a dry wine, they will automatically think they don't like wine. So we teach them to start with something or a wine that is a medium wine. We don't teach people to start with a sweet wine, because once, the way how your brain works, once you've had something that is sweet, you can't try anything else. So we always start them with a medium bodied wine. So once you start with a medium bodied wine, then you can eventually graduate. Currently we're offering takeout and deliveries until we're open fully to the public. We offer curbside pickup, delivery. In terms of payment, we do online transfers, we do cards, and we do cash. We also offer customized menus for persons that fits their individuality. So currently I have a clientele working with to do a Lent menu that geared around her fasting. So she's currently on a fast, and I will be offering that same menu to other customers. I'll be expanding or putting out that menu for other customers who are interested. So we do stuff like that. So we customize for each person. We are currently open between 12 and 7. Once everything is back to normal, we should extend our hours to 11 o'clock. So if you're looking for a dish that has only fresh ingredients, if you're looking for a wine that is only authentic to us or to you, then the wine shop is the place to be.
Here are some of these stories being tracked across the region. There continues to be concern with Trinidad and Tobago's ICU occupancy rate in the parallel healthcare system, with only one bed remaining. Sunil Lala was at the Ministry of Health's COVID-19 update on Wednesday and has this report.
There are 24 patients overall this morning awaiting transfer into the parallel healthcare system.
As of 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday, 51 or 52 intensive care unit beds at COVID-19 facilities were occupied. Just one of the 51 persons was vaccinated. Many COVID-positive patients are at the accident and emergency departments awaiting transfer to the parallel healthcare system. Principal Medical Officer Dr. Miriam Abdul Richard says the vast majority of those in ICU continue to be unvaccinated.
7 of the 24 persons are required for ICU care, and of those 7 patients, none are fully vaccinated.
And Health Minister Terence Dayal Singh believes adding more ICU beds is not the solution, but is considering reactivating the field hospital at the Gene Pair complex.
When the cases started to drop, to rationalize staff, the field hospital at the Gene Pair complex was taken offline, but now it is going back online. The issue of the ICUs at field hospitals, we took a decision not to put ICU patients here for one reason, to rationalize staff.
Mr. Dayal Singh reminds that human resource is finite and diverting staff to the parallel healthcare system would affect other healthcare needs such as elective surgeries.
There is very little more human resource to put into the COVID fight. If we do that, it means our NCD clinics have to shut down again.
Mr. Dayal Singh says the country still hopes to inoculate 200,000 to 300,000 of the eligible unvaccinated population, saying they are the ones that can assist in ensuring the ICUs and A&E departments are not filled. Sonolala, TTT News.
The credit union movement wants a say on regional financial issues. This according to President of the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions, Joseph Remy. Terry Ann Brown Campbell tells us more.
With more than 2.4 million members in 17 countries across the region, the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions is demanding to be included in regional financial decision-making. President of the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions, Joseph Remy, believes they should not be left out of the policy-making process.
Regionally and globally, I would really like to see, and as Joseph said, the credit union movement should now be seated at the table of policy development, socio-economic policy development in Trinidad and Tobago and regionally. At the regional level, as the head of the CCCU, the Caribbean Confederation, we are now making efforts to have a seat at CARICOM at some level.
Mr. Remy notes that in Trinidad and Tobago alone, there are more than 600,000 credit union members. He adds that the local credit union body is also lobbying for policy changes.
Ease some of the restrictive and the measures that stymie credit unions' ability, particularly when it comes to investment and mortgages, so that we don't have to run to the commissioner's office every minute. And I'm seeing that happening. We are part of a committee now that's talking about those things. Some of the simple things we talk about is the ability of credit unions to encash government checks on those things.
Mr. Remy made his comments as he spoke on the Tuesday night forum hosted by the Movement for Social Justice. Terry Ann Brown Campbell, TTT News.
Over to sports, we kick off with football. Fully vaccinated Jamaicans may be able to attend World Cup matches at the National Stadium in the near future. Local Government and Rural Development Minister Desmond McKenzie said this possibility came out of discussions at Wednesday's meeting involving his ministry, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, and other key stakeholders, namely the Jamaica Fire Brigade and the Social Development Commission, the Ministries of Sport and Health and Wellness, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, Independence Park Limited, the managers of the National Stadium, and the Jamaica Football Federation. The Reggae Boys will play a crucial World Cup qualifier against the United States on November 16. Minister McKenzie said while the door has been closed on allowing fully vaccinated fans to attend that match, the possibility exists for the following World Cup qualifying home match against Mexico on January 27, 2022. This, of course, will be contingent on the COVID-19 status in the country at that time. In the meantime, he urged fans to enjoy the upcoming matches from the comfort and safety of their homes. Over now to cricket. The ongoing World T20 has been rocky for defending champions, the West Indies, so far. One Guyanese cricket commentator, John Ramsingh, has picked Pakistan as the team to win the ongoing World T20 in the United Arab Emirates. In a discussion with Newsroom's Akeem Green on Wednesday, Ramsingh also reflected on the current issues surrounding the regional team and what they must do in order to at least make it to the semi-finals.
Super 12 action started on the 23rd of October, and thus far we've seen some topsy-turvy matches, actually a lot of upsets, a lot of predictions that didn't went according to plan. With me to discuss thus far how the Super 12 action at the World T20 is ongoing is John Ramsingh. John, as I said earlier, a lot of shocking results thus far in the World T20. How would you rate those performances?
Akeem, that's what you get in a T20 World Cup. Teams were gunning for this tournament for quite some time, if you know it has been postponed and so on, but now it's actually here. Teams are ready. They've been taking their exits and everything for quite a while. I know that they're at the world peace, we call it the big dance. You know, we're seeing some really good performances. And teams who are challenging, everybody wants to beat the West Indies because they have the World Cup. And teams have been challenging for that. And we're seeing teams putting in their performances pretty much on the topic West Indies.
Hard to gauge who would make those top four?
Yeah, definitely. That was something that you do not want to predict and put maybe your entire paycheck on because of T20, the nature of it itself. You have to consider the players, the conditions that they're playing in, and of course the opposition. And when you look at that, if you look at the groups, with spin being a big factor as well, that's something you need to factor in terms of making predictions. And it's open, it's wide open.
Yeah, in terms of West Indies in particular, you know, a hammering by England, and then I think a feeble performance against South Africa. You know, how do you pin West Indies thus far after two matches?
West Indies, they're right down at the bottom right now, and the only way they can move from there is up. But when you look at what is ahead of them, because what's behind of them, we have no control of that. Spin, it will be spin galore with Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Australia to a lesser extent. But when the pitch starts to get a bit older, when we get to that Australia clash, we can expect Australia to turn up the screws as well with Glenn Maxwell and company, who are not necessarily frontline spinners coming to the fore. But West Indies so far, like you asked, not the side that we wanted to see, not the performances we wanted. England put out their A game in the first game, and of course West Indies caught napping. West Indies tried to come back in their second game against South Africa. They got more runs. South Africa, of course, lost their opening game as well, so both teams were kind of like scratching. And you can see that cautious start from both sides. But in the end, it was South Africa who came up drums because what they did better was actually manage the situation on the day itself. Bowling first, restricting West Indies, a gettable total, and then a nice run chase. So they manage the conditions better, manage the situation better of a run chase. And that's why West Indies are two games down in a World T20.
Just finally, you know, what is your pick? Who is your pick? You know, to possibly lift the title?
Yeah, I said this before at public forum. Pakistan, the way Pakistan has been playing, I'm impressed with Pakistan. If I'm going to pick perhaps a dark horse in this tournament, that's going to be wide open. Maybe you could pick like an England.
And that's our package. Join us tomorrow, same time and place, as we bring you more news and sports right here on PBCJ, the People's Station.